What's up, folks? Welcome to My Sketchy Goodness with the amazing Keith, Sketchy Goodness Grachow. Keith, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, good. This is my fourth YouTube thing this week, so it's been
Oh my God.
crazy. I'm not saying that like this one's like the one that I can like kind of relax the most on. So I'm good for it.
Good.
I'm good for it.
Awesome. Glad to hear
How you
it.
doing, Mike?
Yes, you've been quite the busy beaver. So, one, to the folks out there in YouTube land, welcome. If you've never tuned in before, this is My Sketchy Goodness. Keith here is a talented Toronto-based comic book artist who basically has many years of experience in both the making of art in the trade as well as I don't even know what I would call the combination, but basically going to cons and selling themselves, as well as pitching and working in other chunks of the art industry. And our show here started because Keith likes sketching. Keith likes to be able to wind down and through sketching find art. And you like to share that with a lot of people. You do a lot of different shows now. So you have My Sketchy Goodness. What else have you done this week, Keith?
So I did two Imagination Factory episodes. Sarah and I we're doubling up on episodes in a week. Plus, she's also leaving for a trip for a week. So we're basically going to like I guess have more than one episode ready for next week, so we kind of had to double up this week for that too. So two episodes a week with my the Imagination Factory with Sarah and Keith, plus episodes for next week. Plus, I may actually go on live anyway, so who knows? I mean, it's just I'm a little crazy like that. And then last night I did Sketchy number 56 or 57. I can't remember what that one was, but that one is it's run by Martin Slam Duncan, for everybody that sees him on Facebook, and he's been running this for a while now. And so last night's was to help support the Becca Kinsey and her Kickstarter for the Wormhole Club Tragedy. I think I'm saying that. Wormhole Club Tragedy. It's her collected cosmic horror book that's going to have like an extra 20 pages. So if anybody's bought any of the individual floppies, well, now this collection has like an additional issue in it. So we all did art to support it, some traditional art. Me, Paul Lamenko, Kevin Bionis, sorry, I'm blanking on her. Is it Ashley Daly? I'm Amanda Daly. Sorry, I just met her once or twice. Becca and Martin. I think that's all of us that were part of it. So yeah, right now it's going. If you go to the Sketchomania Facebook page, you can bid on our art, and that all of the proceeds help go towards the Kickstarter that Becca's currently running.
Oh, I love that. Wonderful. And we actually had Becca on last week to do an interview of the show, so you can go check that out. If you're on YouTube, just click the channel after this. I've also in the chat here dropped the links for Imagination Factory as well as the specific episode. And our good friend once again supporting. Good evening, gentlemen. The Amazing series to follow.
Yes, and Paul was on last night as well. Well, so people can catch Becca's interview on Wednesday Night Review, right?
Yes.
Wednesday Night Review. Yeah.
Correct, indeed. It was about a 50-minute episode. We touched on the book itself, the additional stuff, as well as just sort of some of the stuff that inspires her, gets her mind going regarding the horror stuff. It was just a fun interview.
Yeah, I actually did a horror panel with Becca at Calgary Expo this past weekend. I'm going to share my screen while we chat about that stuff, so that
Please do.
we can get and for anybody wondering what it is, I've already started, because normally I will start something just from scratch, but every once in a while I will be in the middle of doing something. And so this was the illustration on the left was a traditionally drawn illustration that I did for Becca's the Kickstarter on Sketchomania last night, and the one on the right, I like to like see what it would look like if I do it digitally. So essentially, I'll just bring it up. You can see the orange there behind it, right? So this is just something I like to try to see if I can use the original as a reference and then go into the digital and correct some of the things that I was having issues with in the traditional, or not necessarily even issues per se, but maybe slightly different ideas, right? I can't go backwards with the traditional. I kind of have to, you're with a traditional. It's like, you know what? There's not. I think it came out great. I have absolutely. There's nothing with it that I was like, oh, this is not good at all. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, like I had some different ideas once I finished this one. And so I was like, okay, let me see if I can actually implement some of those new ideas into the digital version of it. So that's kind of where we're at with it. Sometimes the traditional ends up, really the lines end up being much better, but it's just, that's part of the experience and experimentation.
Right on. That's fascinating. So a question that immediately came up. I guess two of them. So the first one. So Keith, when you've taken the original drawing, which I'm assuming you scanned, and now you are
it's a photo of it actually, but yeah.
Oh wow. So did you fully redraw over the photo, or were you able to through the program lift lines off of it and then work from there?
So I took a photo, and then you can see here all I'm doing is the original photo that's right, but I adjusted it so that
Right on.
like, as I said, one of the things I was like, I drew it, and then I was like, well, wait a second, maybe I want her like backpack to not be so much like on her back. Like I wanted that little bottom part of it to kind of come out a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I thought about was like with this one, you can see like the way I did it was with this certain size paper with like a 9x12, which like I filled it up quite nicely. So again, no, I don't have any issues with what I did here. I think it came out great. I mean,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, it's supposed to be on its side, but if I rotate it, yeah, I'll do it this way. Well, and anyway, like yeah, it's supposed to be like kind of like this or something like that. But this, I'm just trying to see what it looks like at a slightly different angle. And then I also wanted to extend it out a bit on the bottom to make it feel like, because one of the ideas I had towards the end was like the movement lines, right? So I started doing it a little bit with this one, but then with this one, I'm doing it a little bit more. Just little, as I said, little ideas. There's this one, the original came out really well. Like I'm actually pretty proud of all the lines and the composition and how I rendered it. There's not really anything about it that I think is incorrect. It looks good. It just with the new one, I'm like, like as I said, I had ideas I wanted to implement. I wanted to try slightly different things, slightly different angle, slightly, add a little detail on it, just for fun. It's nothing other than just to play around and see what I can come up with some of these new ideas I had. Because again, once I finished the original, I looked at it. I'm like, oh, what if I tried this? What if I did that? Right. So
Yeah.
that's all that is, right?
Oh, I totally dig that too. And I imagine like having that open mind about the whole, like the art piece and being able to just do that. I imagine you're going to gain a lot of knowledge about the way that you draw and sort of be able to add your own improvements, so to speak, not to the piece, but so much so, or much more so, I should say, to the way that you do draw in the future because you've taken the time to really think about that.
Yeah.
Um, that's fascinating. I wonder if stuff like that is why you're able to do overall composition in your thumbnailing as fast as you are, because you've taken the time in yourself and invested in, okay, once I've drawn this thing in this particular way, okay, what do I think would actually be better, then you keep on moving with it. I think that's really cool.
And that's it. It's the thumbnail, like, is a, or look at it another way, is that this first illustration I did was like a um, practice sketched for, let's say, if I were to make this, if I were to keep on doing this traditionally, I may work with a larger size, and I would, think about, now that I know it's like the kind of where the light's coming from, and like think about like adding onto the composition towards the bottom, right?
Mm,
Maybe angling it slightly differently. Then I would go into a painting with like that mindset, understanding the value. So it's really just like a lot of artists do this. They'll do multiple sketches of something just to get like, to get the sense of what it is, and then they'll go for a finished piece, having worked out a lot of the problems,
mm,
or like adding or subtracting things to it, so that you can get something that you find you're like, okay, this is as close as I can get to the way I see it in my head, right? So
yeah.
this actually came out pretty close to how I had originally imagined it. And then once I saw it, I was like, oh, there's new ideas I have now to it, and maybe I want to try those ideas, right? So it's one of those things where, as I said, I actually am very happy with how it came out. I really, but once I saw it, I had new ideas, and I was just like, oh, well, let's see what they look like. Like, let's see what this. And to your point of a thumbnail, yeah, like you start with ideas from a script, and then once you've seen them visually, you may get new ideas from it, right? And that's, it's instead of staying with the original, it's always great to be able to keep on pivoting. That's one of the great things about the imagination factor with Sarah and I, which is we're working on like the thumbnail stage right now, as a matter of fact. And then as we started with the first thumbnail, and now we've gone, or the first 6 pages of original thumbnails, and now
Mhm.
what we're doing is we're going to, well, what happens if we were to vary this original thumbnail and add new ideas, and or take ideas from the second thumbnail we did, and make it like an amalgamation of the first and the second, so now we have a third one, right? So, and by doing that, all you're doing, it shouldn't take a lot of time to do. It should be quick, and just kind of like in the moment, and then that
Mm.
way you're like not putting so much effort into something, finishing it, and being like stuck, like I don't want to change it, right? Because that's one of those things where that's where people, artists really get stuck, is like, oh, I like this thing on it, but so I don't want to change this, and then but other things
Oh.
need to change. So by laying it all out first, um, hopefully then that means that you can try to keep that immediacy. That's the challenge, is to keep the immediacy of what you've created in the original, and replicate it somehow in the newer version, without like getting rid of whatever it was that made it really kind of cool and interesting. You just have to learn how to let go of it, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that is one thing. Like throughout just all the different times we've now done this, we've really talked about like the art process, especially like the idea of like being a working artist and being able to get the art done. One thing is that you've sort of come back to is the idea of don't be precious with it. Like I said, let it go. Just get the thing you got to get done. Um, but yeah, I find it interesting. And when you said earlier, you have to keep the immediacy. What I'm getting out of that, the way you said it, is just like how it feels live and the energy of it. Is that right, or am I misreading that?
Yeah, it is, but it's kind of also, So let's see if I can find one in the original that would be okay. A perfect example. There's like I noticed that there's a little thing that I noticed on it that I was like really pretty happy with. Oh, this isn't black and white. That's why it's okay. It's going to just be in white here when I do this. Okay, so right here, right in the area of the kind of like where the hip is, like there's an
Mhm.
indentation where you have like some of your glute muscles connecting where the hip. There's like a hollow area where the hip is, where like the main, I think it's the femur goes, like it's a ball and joint type thing.
Oh, the hip dip, so to speak.
Yeah, the hip dip, right? So there was what I was rendering here. You can see it kind of came out interesting in a way where, like, I was trying to get that feeling across, and I think it came out really, really, really nicely. Now, the issue I'm going to have when the new one is how can I replicate that feeling? Maybe it's not going to look exactly the
Got
same,
it.
but it
Uh-huh.
may, like that. There's just something about that, the way the lines I use, the value of the line, like the texture a little bit. There's a lot of like happening here that I don't know if I can replicate again. So I have to figure out, can I get the essence of it, like that feeling of like the hip kind of not only dipping in there, but also the kind of bit of the curvature of where the light is hitting it and all
Mhm.
that stuff that goes into that kind of I don't know. It just sometimes you just do something and you're just not thinking about it. You're just thinking about like the feeling of it, and you actually physically can replicate that feeling. And to do that twice is a challenge, right?
Yeah.
You have to kind of know what you did the first time to be able to get there. And I have an idea, but to get it exactly is going to be really hard. And so, it's one of those things where, like I'll have to like think about it and see if I can, like right now I'm playing around in that area a little bit and seeing if I can like replicate it a little, and then
Mm.
I'll work through it. That's just one example of it. Like, and there's a good chance that and I can't get that exact thing in a million years. Like I'll keep on trying and trying. So like that's the beautiful thing. So whoever gets this traditional piece, hopefully they'll know that there's some parts of this that they're very unique to it, that even if there's other things that I'm like, oh, I would have corrected a little bit, there's parts of it that I'm like, I won't ever be able to do it again, maybe. Or if I do get close to it, it won't be exactly the way I won't like it as much as that initial little area there that I've created,
Yeah.
right? And you just have to live with it. That's just part of the whole thing of art, is that it's just it's that's the art part of it. A lot of it is
Mhm.
skill, but that's like those little happy little accidents that you're like, for whatever reason you just really like it and you can't replicate it. And hopefully and maybe the person who purchases it, they'll see it, maybe they won't see that, but um that is the beauty of art, is that that's the subjectivity of it, right?
Oh, 1,000%. And that's sort of once in a lifetime kind of deal where it just worked out that one time. That thing made it unique. And even if you try to draw this exact piece again, as you're doing now, probably can't quite, for whatever reason, get it to replicate. But additionally, if you could, it would feel weird, I think, if you could just like photocopy, reproduce your own work. Um, which again,
Maybe.
like, yeah, it comes to like sort of uniqueness and stuff. Um, I know we touched on it a lot, but I had I watched a video. I think it was a reel, technically, um, on AI, like sort of touching on that, um, where someone had said basically when it comes to AI art, which to anyone who watches the show, if you're not aware, myself and Keith are vehemently aware against AI art, the use of AI in the art process, for many, many reasons. But the point that the person who was making this video made, which I thought was really good, was um, all the beautiful stuff that Keith has done to this, both the physical drawing that we're seeing on the left and this digital version. They are unique. It is not only Keith's time to draw this particular drawing, but all of the years of practice that went into making that possible, or the reason why Keith can do this as fast as he can. And when you can use AI art to just go, create a female astronaut getting attacked by alien with tentacles coming out of its face.
So baby Cthulhu.
Oh, beauty, baby Cthulhu. Oh, and have it render something. That thing just became kind of, I mean, you could argue unique, but mass produced and not special. Whereas, even though I'm looking at two of these side by side, they are both unique and different. So yeah, that is all I will say on that, because that could become our whole episode. And I wanted to ask about Calgary Expo.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say one little thing about what you just said.
Go nuts, please.
I agree exactly what you're saying. And it's also the real crying shame of it is to be able to tell somebody, like, the beauty of like creating something like that little swoosh of, like down in the right down there that I created in the hip area for the traditional one. When you do something like that and you recognize it, it just like kind of fills your heart, like makes you feel really good that you created something like that. And AI, you have no control over that. Like you're just like at the whim of the prompts. That's the thing I've always been saying. It's about like you're cheating yourself of those moments. The artist, and somebody who is not an artist may not recognize it, and that's the other issue is they don't see that they're cheating themselves of something like that. But an artist who's using it to kind of skip steps, you are cheating yourself of that, right? Like you're of those little moments. Even if you create something technically through AI that you're like, oh my God, that's kind of cool how that happened. It's like, but you didn't do it. Like you didn't do it. Like you, it's the program that did it. So, like your actual skills didn't do anything. You just let some program put it together, and it's like, oh my, and I think that may be the thing that's confusing to people who aren't artists, going, oh, look at this thing I created, look how awesome it is. But it's like, no, you didn't create it. Like you just type things in, and you're stealing art from other people who did do that, right? And so, like that's the thing that if anybody ever came to you and said like, hey, look what I created with this like AI that you don't think is art, and I'm like, you didn't create it, you couldn't do that again. Without that, you'd have no idea how to do it. You're just, all you're doing is like, it's like you bought a car to say you built it. Like, like you can't take any kind of pride out of it, right?
What a good analogy.
Like you literally, all you're doing is taking credit for something that somebody else did, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to be able to catch somebody on that. So, okay, we can leave that conversation. We talked about it quite a bit anyway. Calgary was good, man. I actually have a appreciation for what you do when you moderate, because like, they threw me in. So I was asked to help organize what was called Cosplay Times Comics on the Friday night of the show after the show ended. So technically there's like a lot of different parts of expo shows. You have the comic part of it. You have the, like the actor part of it. Then you have like the anime part of it. And those things are all very separate from each other. People who organize it know each other, but like they kind of have their own groups that run these things. So there is something called Anime After Dark that the expo shows run. This one is very anime cosplay oriented.
Very cool.
And they asked if I would want to be part of it, and then I was asked if there were like artists I wanted to like invite to be part of it.
Oh, cool.
So I did. I got a bunch of artists to do it. Now, at the same time that that was happening, they have Comic Explosion, which is a huge thing that artists, comic book artists, take part of at all these shows now, which is essentially like a live, um, imaginative painting for an hour, and people can bid on those paintings, right? And so
So cool.
it's a lot of pressure. I think for some people, I can see I would be very pressured. I've never done it, but I'd be very pressured to do it.
Mm.
To be honest with you, I if I were asked to do it, I'd be stressed. I think it would be a very, because I haven't, while I have painted in the past, I have not painted in years. Like I've traditionally
Oh, okay.
raw. I do like water. I do like watercolor or um, like marker rendering, that kind of stuff. But actually, like oil painting, it's been years since I've done it. So, not to say that it wouldn't come back to me, and I know the skills to do that part of it, but it's a little intimidating. Anyway, so they have that on the Friday night, but I think they're just trying. It's a limited amount of artists that can do it, and I think that there's so many artists that take part of the expo shows. They're trying to
Mm.
my and again, nobody's told me this, so I'm speculating on it. But I'm thinking they want to spread the wealth. They want all of us to participate to a degree,
Oh, yeah, that's
uh,
cool.
and so have an opportunity to feel like you're part of the show, and to help promote the show how you can, right? And so I was asked to organize it, and then the whole week, I think, because it's one of those things where they're focusing on other things. This is a new thing that they're trying to do. They weren't exactly sure how to go about it. So like, I didn't have a lot of information until like
Mm.
Friday, when they finally, I think they all figured it out. And then that was when I was asked, oh, do you want to moderate it as well? So not only was I going to take part in it, I was going to moderate it. And thankfully, I have experience when it comes to like how these life drawing lessons would go. It's not something that like, you just have to be somewhat familiar with how long somebody should be posing for, and
Mhm.
the kind of poses you want them to do, all that kind of stuff. So, which I'm familiar with. As I said, I've done plenty of life drawing in my lifetime. So um, they asked me to moderate it, and I was like, okay, I just need somebody to help me time it, because there's no way I can draw, then moderate, as well as keep time. Like that
Oh,
just
no
that
kidding. Oh my
that's
god.
so they were like, yeah, we'll find you somebody. And so yeah, we did. It was a bunch of us that participated as artists, guest artists, and then you had guest cosplayers who were posing for us, and then we had
Oh.
the fans behind us who were able to like draw along with us, and then like everybody kind of gave their sketches to the cosplay guest, right, for posing, right. It was very nice of them to do, and then
Yeah.
once all the guests posed, then some of the fans posed as well, right? So it was a lot of fun. It was for sure much more relaxed than the comic explosion, because everybody who took part in our thing was like, "Oh my god, I would do that again. That was a lot of fun. I love doing it."
Beauty.
And then we went to go. We had a bit of time for round two of the comic explosion to see what people were doing, and you can tell they were like stressed to the max and spent
Oh,
by the end of the show, and they're just like, "Oh my god, like I don't know if I want to do that again." And like they enjoyed it, but there's high stakes, right? Like there's people watching you, and there's a little bit more. I think, when it comes to that. So, um, like I'm sure I understand the draw for doing it, which is like you can make a pretty good amount of money. Um,
mm,
like there is something to be said about like, your work. You may prep a bit for it, but essentially you're working an hour, and you can make $1,000, I guess, right? Like it's
this would be
not
pretty
not
crazy
nothing,
cool.
right? So
Yeah.
I totally get why somebody wanted to do it, and especially when some people, that's their medium, right? Like their medium is painting anyway. Why wouldn't they want to do it? But for, I think, some of the artists that are like a bit, it's not their comfort zone, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something that they've done it now, and they're like, okay, I made some money from it. It may not. They may go, I'd like to try something like what we did, which was lots of fun. It was very relaxed. You can drink while you're doing it,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
you have time in between to stop and relax. So like ours was probably about an hour and a half, from beginning to end, of just like poses and chatting with each other. And yeah, I had a good time. I enjoyed it. So I'm like, I'll do it again if they want to invite me to moderate it again. I'd happily moderate it, because it was lots of fun. And my DJ stripper voice came out, which like it's not like I've ever done that before, but that's I've
Uh-huh.
been to strip clubs before, so I know like what they sound like. Um, so it was a lot of fun for sure. And then I did like panels, and I did some kid zone workshop stuff to help
Right
Sam
on.
Moore
Yeah.
out, which was he had like, I don't know, like at least 10 of them over the weekends or over the 4 days. So I helped him with some of that. So
Right
yeah.
on. Keith, you are a busy beaver. And the anime cosplay live drawing, what was the title that it had?
I'm gonna say it was called cosplay. Was it cosplay X comics, I think, or something like that? It was like, I don't know if that's the official title of it at this point. I think it needs to be workshopped a little bit, but yeah, because they didn't even, I don't, as far as I know, they didn't really even have like a official like announcement of it. It was just something that I think it's on my. If you go to my socials, you'll see exactly what it's called. Um,
Yeah. I've got your Instagram post up of it. Are you good if I share that?
sure.
All right. I'm gonna pop your drawing off the screen for a second here. Share screen. Just want to make sure this proportionally shows up correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll do. Like, that's so cool to me. Um,
Yeah.
and if I'm not mistaken, there are a few. Yeah, like that. So you had your obviously yourself. How many artists total were drawing this?
So guest artists. It was five of us. I think it was Leslie Doyle, Hugh Rockwood, Marvin Mariano, Colette Cooper. I'm sorry, Colette. Yeah, Colette Cooper or Colette Fleming. Was it Colette? No, Colette Cooper. Right? Is it there? I think that's her last name.
Uh, let's see here. I had a blast monitoring and drawing cosplay artists during the Anime After Dark Calgary Expo. Thank you to NYX Nightly Cosplay and Soda Pop Cosplay and
Oh,
all
there
the
you
other
go.
cosplay artists, as well as my fellow creators. Art of Colette Turner,
Turner.
Hugh
That's her
Rockwood
last
art.
name.
Yeah, Colette Turner.
Yeah.
Colette Turner. Hugh Rockwood. Adrian Coleric was there, sick.
Yeah.
Um,
Adrian. Yeah.
yeah, right on. Uh, Marvin
Mariano.
Mariano,
Yeah.
perfect. And then Aqua Gem underscore art.
That's
Yeah,
Leslie
like
Doyle.
this came up on my Instagram feed, and I seen this, and I looked through, and like, Keith, look how happy you look. My God, man, like that smile, your cosplay model as well. Like this looks like a cool event. I think
It
this should
was.
be
It
a,
was.
a, a thing. Yeah, like that's just so cool to me. Um,
Yeah. Well, I think they're trying to, for sure. This was a test run. Like, like whether I'm involved in it or not in the future, this was a test run to see if it was something that they would want to do again. And I hope they do. Like, I think I know the artists that were involved all said like they loved it and they would recommend doing it again and all that stuff. So, I mean, um, it was for sure one of the highlights of the show. It was one of those things where I kind of, as I got more and more information about it, I was like, well, this sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, and it feels like they're just trying to do this as a trial balloon to see if like this is something that they want to experiment with or develop a little bit further. And so like I reported back to be like, yep, this is how it worked, and it worked really well. And like there's some ideas I have if they wanted to, how they could implement it, change some things in the future to make it, run a little bit smoother, to make it a little bit bigger, that kind of thing. So, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we'll see what happens in the future. So,
That's super cool. I think that's really interesting. Like I remember, I have not been to one of the art explosions for Fan Expo Canada, or any of the other shows that I've seen or been in. But I know I've seen online. Mostly, it's Casey Parsons who posts. And again, another local. I think he's based in Toronto, but I know
he's out of like Stony Creek, but yeah.
Oh, down Niagara way. Okay. But again, Ontario based, we'll say artist, extremely talented gentleman. And yeah, he's, I don't know if he's done all of them, but I know he's done a few of them for sure. And he seems great at it. But it reminds me of, and this is a callback, maybe no one in the comics community will remember, or maybe they will. But back in, well, I'm 34. I want to say 12 to 15 years ago. A lot of the students at OCAD would do a thing that they were calling art battle, which is essentially the same thing, where select students would be picked. You would go to, I think it was a particular bar that kept running these events, where
Was it Dr. Sketchy? Was it Dr. Sketchy at the Cameron House?
Don't know. It very well could have been. I know it was downtown, and basically they would have 4 easels set up with I call it a stretcher, but canvases on it, and I believe you had to bring your own paint. But then yeah, like 4 artists would come, and it was like a timed thing, and they would just start painting. I don't think it was structured in any capacity. It was just paint whatever you want. And then, yeah, the people there could bid on it. And I think the artists walked away with either all of the bet money or a percentage of. Yeah, I remember, again, because my partner went to OCAD. That's where they got their, both of their arts degrees. But yeah, during their BA, that was like a big thing, and it was a big popular event. It was really cool. But this just feels like an extension of that, just focused on comics, or comics creators, I should say.
I'd say it's like a hybrid. What you're talking about, it's kind of like a little bit of both. It's because the difference really, we didn't monetize the one we did. It was more of like we're like, if you want to sell them, you can, but like you only have 5 or 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Cosplay guests, so it's hard to be able to do that. But hypothetically, it's just one step over, right? One of them is the comic explosion is like, you have an hour, you have a canvas, paint whatever you want, right? In that hour, you have to finish it essentially, right? And then people bid on it. With the cosplay one, conceivably, if you had somebody that could stand there for like 30 minutes or longer, right? They may need like a time to like break for like, because it's not that difficult. All you do is you take a photo of them, and then when you're ready to get back in the pose, lighting's pretty consistent, so it's just a matter of like having them back in that pose again. So it could be, you could do it in that way where you do it for 30 minutes or longer. So in that case, if you wanted to turn it into like a similar thing, the only difference being is that you have somebody that's in front of you, and that's a cosplay artist that's going to help contribute, and the other one is completely from the imagination, right? So you could do the same thing, just with a slightly different tweak to it. But
yeah,
it's just and then maybe that's the way that they'll try to do it in the future, so they'll have that's how you get cosplayers. My idea was to also have, like, somebody may have planted the seed in my head, but like having like a voice actor like narrated or something as well, like have some kind of like
Ooh.
like have somebody, like two people posing, and then having like a voice actor, kind of like a couple voice actors, like, like, so then you can do like you can do a
You do it.
little bit of everything. You can do like a 30-minute pose with like like whatever material you want to make, and then maybe try to sell that. Then you do like 30-second or minute long poses of like people doing something and having voice actors acting it out or something like
Oh,
that,
that'd be so
right?
cool.
Yeah, like something. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So we'll see. I mean, anybody can. These aren't. I'm not like. If somebody wants to take these ideas and do something with them, I don't care. But at the end of the day, well, if I were, that's great. But whatever they do, it's just a matter of like, having a lot of fun for the creators, for like the fans, for the voice actors, for the like voice anime, or like whatever, live. It could be like live voice actors, to the cosplay artists, to like comic book artists. That would be a real way to tie everybody together, right?
That'd be wicked. Yeah. Sorry, just marveling at the idea. Like I'm picturing here where you've got just the way you said it. Like you've got a 30-minute post. So my brain went, okay, cool. It's like a big splash or something. Then you've got, if it's a handful of 1 or 2 minute poses, or even like a 5-minute pose, you could have your voice actor or actors start narrating a scene, even if it's like a popular scene from whatever show that the cosplayers are from.
Yeah.
And like you could turn that, record what they're doing while they're doing it live, and then maybe take the canvas that you're going to draw this thing on and divide it out. Okay, so we know in this particular scene, here's the big conclusion, the big eye-catching moment, and here's two smaller versions. Well, you could take your top quarter of your canvas, draw the first pose for 5 minutes while that's narrated, and then the next pose is the next, the top right-hand corner, and then you've got the whole bottom half as your splash page to do the detail work, or more detail work, I should say, and like somehow, maybe, I don't know, have that recorded live, have that quickly posted to somewhere, print off a QR code sticker to that web address, stick it on the frame somewhere, and go, okay, cool, you can buy this unique piece from this particular artist, and when you scan there, you're going to go to the voice actor doing their thing. Like that could be a wildly like cross media, cross artistic venture on that. Like, think of how beautiful and unique that piece would be to whomever ends up with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot for sure. Like logistically, for the artist to be able, like, you have to. The thing to figure out is, could you do? Ideally, this is how I would love it. If ideally you had an hour, either one or two cosplay guests posing as if they're going to do something, and then having them stand still for an hour while like you have like voice actors kind of act out the scenario for everybody. And so like I think it would probably either, or you can do like quick, like just like warm up poses using the voice actors for the first like 5 or 10 minutes to just to get so really at the end of the day, voice actors would lend their time for like 5 or 10 minutes. It wouldn't be anything super long. It would just be warm up drawings, something to give to like the voice actors, to give to the cosplay artists, whatever. And then you would set in for the full like 30-40 minute or hour long pose, which would just be the cosplayer, cosplay artist in a cool pose. And then that could be the thing that you can auction off or sell, bid on, or whatever it is. Depending on whatever, if it's for like the artists, or if it's like something where, since you have a cosplayer involved, it may be something like for like some kind of like a benefit, like if they want to choose like something, like some kind of like the Humane Society or something like that, right? Like
Yeah,
whatever they
something to
want to
donate
do.
to.
Yeah, so you could always do it that way too, right? Like, so it could just be like the monetize it for the artists involved. It's possible, but I think really at the end of the day, if they wanted to, if you just want to make it equitable for everybody, it could just be whatever everybody, like gets in, pays for a ticket. Maybe that goes towards like the Humane Society or whatever for the cosplay artists, so they feel,
Hell yeah.
and then the artists can make some money from. It's very similar to Comic Explosion, just using a cosplay artist as opposed, and maybe voice actors to get in the middle of it, right? So
Hmm.
it could, yeah. So I think that's the kind of thing you just have to work out. You'd have to get the cosplay artists and the voice actors all on the same page. Who's going to do it? Who's
Yeah.
okay? Like, whether it's a few minutes that they would just donate their time and that kind of thing, right?
Oh, 100%. And like it to me, like if a voice actor is going to be there, or frankly even a cosplay artist, um, you might draw in like a really diverse group of sort of fandom, as well as like different type of creators who want to watch and check it out. So
Hmm.
when you're doing that long, protracted 30-minute drawing of them, it might not be a bad idea if they're there anyway for the voice actor to be able to take questions regarding
Yeah,
their performance and or just their work. And then
yeah,
even like the cosplayers themselves, like you said, holding a 30-minute position, not the easiest thing to do. We're talking live, and I'm in a comfy chair, and I'm still twitching around and moving. Um, so I'd imagine, yeah, like strike the pose, start with a good picture, have them stay in the pose while maybe the voice actor answers some questions or the artists answer some questions, and then once in a while, hey, cosplayer, for your costume, how did you make this particular part? How did you do the hemming on that piece? Where did you make the foam from?
yeah.
And then you could get them, 5-10 minutes in the middle to stand up, move, answer some questions, have some water, and then go sit back down and wrap it up after. Like,
That's a great idea, actually. So as I said, like ideally to get the best kind of either drawing or painting, right? Like I'll show you one of the ones I did, and it probably was like the 5 minute one that I ended up keeping. I didn't want to. I liked it, but it was this here,
oh,
right?
nice.
And again, I just liked the pose and the way that the leather and stuff like that. I just liked the way that I was able to render it. I took a photo. If I wanted to fully render it, I could. But
It
one of those
feels very
things,
comfortable.
yeah, like you could have that pose for an hour. You just take as I said, person, you take a couple of photos to get it so that you make sure you're getting the person posed correctly if they when they go back into it. But they could conceivably do a 30-minute pose, stretch, maybe answer, like do a Q&A for 10 minutes, just chatting with everybody, and then go back into the pose again, right? So
Oh,
that's not
yeah.
a bad idea either. There's a lot of potential for it. Like there's a lot of possibilities that could be done. It's a matter of like um, having somebody organize it and get it so that like we everybody kind of can promote it properly. Like
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing. If you can promote it in a way where you have the cosplay artists who know they're going to be part of it, the voice actor who knows they're going to be part of it, like blasting it out, the artists that know they're going to be parting it, as well as the Anime After Dark promoting it, selling tickets, all that kind of stuff. Like it could be a pretty big event. Like it could be where you have easily hundreds of people
Oh,
buying
yeah.
tickets and contributing, to help Humane Society, and maybe bidding on some of the art, that kind of thing, right?
Oh, 100%. Like that, yeah, that's hmm.
Dude, you've got me. See, I was like, I'm glad we had this conversation because there's things that, like anybody can now watch this, I guess, and figure it out on their own. But it's also a matter of if they wanted to like bring me back and ask, hey, what do you have any ideas for this? Like, how can we do this because it's not like I can do every show, right? So have
Oh,
figured out some of this stuff, and I'd happily give them suggestions on what things they can try to implement and all that kind of stuff, right? So,
mhm.
but yeah, there's a lot of possibilities to it, and conceivably, like their whole right now, their comic explosion is the biggest thing, but I think this could be even bigger, right? If done right, for sure.
Oh yeah. By the way, just about a minute ago, our good friend Paul. Paul, thank you so much. That's really great for a 5 minute pose. Hope you host that event again. It was an awesome idea, or it is an
Yeah,
awesome idea, I
thank
should
you,
say.
sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
appreciate it, Paul. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, for
oh.
sure, it is. It's a really cool.
Ah.
Uh, so, but yeah, it was a good show. I would do it again. I had a really good time.
Yeah, 100%. Leo comes in. This is a
Oh my
fascinating
God,
idea.
hey
I think
Dylan.
you, hi. I think you two should develop this to offer Comic Cons and produce it. I have to ask, very curious, what are you wearing, Conrad? Um, Good eye, Leo. My partner today, after being away for a week in London, England, got back. I picked her up at the airport, left work a little bit early to do that. And she and I hope that didn't hit the microphone, are big fans of a particular TV show. And she was at, I don't
Ted
know how well,
Lasso.
yeah. So she actually went and got me an AFC Richmond. Oh, it doesn't translate well in the. It's a reverse of that thing, but I got an AFC Richmond official scarf. I've got a Believe sticker for any fans of Ted Lasso out there. So that's what I'm rocking today. Proudly so. For those of you who have not seen the show Ted Lasso, please do. It is heartwarming and wonderful. Talks on life, many great things. And the fourth season is coming out August 5th, I think. So I will be promptly rewatching all three seasons between now and then. But yes, that is what I'm wearing. I don't wear scarves. This is the first scarf I've ever owned, and probably the last one I ever own. Go Greyhounds. Keith, talk to me about this, like the layering and the decisions and how you make the choice to do it. So, all right, I'm gonna make it bigger on the screen. There we go. I always visually love these kind of scenes because this adds a lot of layer and depth and focus to what you're making. But I can never figure out how the hell you decide on the particular shade and where it needs to go. Like, how do you do that?
Um, well, it's about like how your eye's supposed to flow around, right? You're wanting to make it so that it's easy for your eye to figure out like what you're looking at. So you just saw me there. I actually had a smoke here on on the other side of the leg, and I
Yeah.
realized it was a lot. It's just a lot. There was too much of it. So to help like focus the eye a little bit better. So now the leg that's kind of pointing out is a little bit clearer to see, so that
Mhm.
the shapes, the outline of it is a little bit easier to distinguish. So it's really for the most part, I'm just like, like figuring it out as I go. This isn't something I really planned too much in advance. So it's more like I'm going on instinct, but yeah, like it's just what looks, if I'm looking at this and if I'm thinking I'm a little confused by what I'm looking at, what is it that I can do to make it a little clearer for me, and that means that it's hopefully a little clearer for the viewer, right?
Mhm.
And that's really, like one of the things I may even decide to like amp down the smoke a little bit, because I think it's there's something about it that's a little bit too busy, right? So maybe I'll keep the lines there, but I'll just, instead of making them as prominent as I had, I'll make it a little less so, just so that um, it doesn't feel confusing. I don't know. I haven't really figured out. I'm still kind of figuring it out as I go, but there's other ways I could have done this. I could have like just flatted out each shape.
Mm.
And then I could have, from there I could have like made sure that there was a lot of different values to look at, and then from there I would have started adding in like detail. But since we're doing it like an hour long thing, I just figured I would like go into it right away and add detail as I went,
Oh
value
yeah.
as I went, so that it's a little bit more exciting for the viewer. So
Fair. I mean, I find that fascinating because like so much of the art piece, right? From I think the most for me, for whatever reason, the most eye-catching thing, and maybe it's the contrast, is the jetpack. Maybe it's the fact that I really like the Rocketeer. So like the idea of like a solo burner on someone's back just like throws me back to the Rocketeer. But like because of the contrast, the white you're using to depict sort of the flame or the propulsion, that draws me down to the flame, and then I see, you know, the I don't know the term for it, but the if you will. And then, you know, I see the legs, the speed lines, and then, you know, work my way up to baby Cthulhu absolutely trying to, you know, smother this person to death. Or just give them big hugs.
yeah,
And
true.
yeah,
Love
and so like yeah, so I see all of that, right? My brain's like, cool, happy. But now you're adding in like right to the edges of the page, you've gone super dark, and then lighter and lighter and lighter up until the background is, I don't know, a shade off of the shadowing, or maybe lighter than that. I'm not sure, but like that's how it perceptually looks. And I always find like that understanding or trying to understand how you even determine the shading you want to use, just I don't know. Or is it just more feel? Do you, when you're doing that, Keith, is it just what feels right and just go with it?
Yeah, right now that's how I'm going. It's more experience, just of what feels right. As you can see, I just got rid of all that smoke because I'm like, well, if it's in space,
Mm.
we're not really seeing that smoke. Um, and I didn't actually delete it. I just I masked it, so you can't. If I want to bring it back, I can. So there's nothing permanent about that. Um, yeah, you know, it's again like I guess part of this is what's the story to this piece. So one of the things that if you can figure out like what the story is a little bit, like is this in space, why is that Cthulhu baby like trying to like grab the astronaut, why is the astronaut flying away, like all those things kind of give you some, you ask some questions and then maybe it'll give you some answers in regards to like, well, you know, maybe it's not like a dire situation, essentially. It's more of a surprising situation. So that would explain, you know, like the person's look. I'm not making them super shocked. I'm just making them a little bit like, oh, okay, well, you know, like I'm not ready for that hug, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm flying right now. It's not appropriate for me to be hugging you at this moment, right? Um, so, you know, like also, um, you know, thinking about like how fast are they going? Like initially, I hadn't thought about that when I first did you can look at this one. The original one's like almost like it wasn't in space. It was kind of like out in clouds, maybe
Mm.
in the atmosphere. They weren't moving super fast, but this one I'm thinking I want to make them feel like it's moving much faster. So what does that look like? Right. So that's kind of all the decisions I'm starting to think about here in regards to, you know, and I'm making them very loose. I'm not like super concerned with like uh, detail or like fine detail at this point. I just want to get like a sense, is this working? And then from there, what I'll do is like, if I feel like it's working, then I'll like lean into that. Like, okay, so I know where the light source is because of what's happening from the jet pack. So that means, you know, I'm making sure that the back is lit here. And, you know, like, is there another light source we may be seeing, just an ambient light source? Like, that's the one thing I haven't quite figured out yet. So then maybe I'll figure out, okay, there's a light source coming from the chest. That means that some of this is going to be lit up right here. So the under part of just Thulu is going to be lit up a bit. right? Just to give it like a little bit of a focus. That means there's a bit of an uplight happening here as well. Like all those things that I can start to figure out. This is all in the rough stage, right? So I'm not really super concerned with like finished detail. Just more or less like making it feel like this is a good composition, I guess.
Right on. Well, Keith, as you sort of come to the conclusion of this rougher sketch to make it feel like a complete conclusion, we are at the conclusion of our episode. We're actually we're going overtime. So, Keith, you do have a couple more dates coming up in your tour, so to speak. Where can the people find you?
So on Saturday for Free Comic Book Day, I'm going to be at Comic One Book in Stony Creek from 11 to 5. It's May 2nd. It's a family affair. You can get free comic books at this event, but it's really about like supporting your local comic shops. So you don't have to go to the Comic One Book, but go support your local comic shop, buy collectibles, books, whatever it is, so that they can keep on doing what they're doing. And then on Sunday, I was just asked to join the Retro Comic Con in Woodstock.
Oh, cool.
I think it's run by Studio Comics, Alfonso Espinosa. I think he's running it. So I don't know a whole lot about it other than I think it's $10 to get in. And it's from I want to say it's from 10 to 5 at Woodstock. Cool. Some kind of like theater. I don't actually have this. As I said, this is all new, so I'm not exactly sure. It should be on my Facebook as to where it is exactly located. But anyway, that's where I'll be this weekend.
Love it. Again, you're like in the middle of one hell of a busy week, my guy. Yeah. I have the 2026 Woodstock Retro Comic Con Sunday, May 3rd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Woodstock Fairgrounds. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Yeah, you are like slap dab in the middle still of a hell of a week, tail-ended by 2 separate cons. Fantastic. Well, Keith, as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me, for drawing some wicked art, talking comics. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Adios. And to the folks out there in YouTube land, obviously, like, comment,